progress.
Yeah, folks can comment on chat if you guys are able to see the screen, and recording is on, and then we'll start. Awesome. Great. So let's start. There were some things which were asked in the last session that I'll answer after we just complete this session, right? Regarding a case study, etc. So let's start with today's topic. This is RAG and fine tuning, right? So I'll give you an actual scenario, and there are certain limitations what LLMs can do, right? So let's say if I go to ChatGPT right now, and if I ask what is the maybe leave policy for next leap, right? Let's say I ask this question, right? So it searches for it, but of course, there is no documents sort of which is online, and it then starts to give some information which is like unlimited leave policy or flexible leave structure or something of that sort, right? Which may or may not be true. So we don't know this thing because that information the LLM is not trained on, right? Similarly, things which are happening in the real world, for example, uh, Paytm loses its banking license, right? Yesterday night, Paytm lost its banking license. Now that information LLM is not trained on. LLM is trained till a certain specific date on information. So you can ask actually till what date. Uh, so knowledge cutoff date. We call it officially a knowledge cutoff date. The knowledge cutoff date for GPT-5. I believe this is 5.4 because I think yesterday or day before yesterday 5.5 launched, right? So for 5.4, the knowledge cutoff date is 2024 or September 2024. Now, how do you get data which is currently happening? So what ChatGPT does is, or what other companies have started to do, something which Perplexity was doing, right? What they do is they search, like your normal Google search happens, right? They search and then they retrieve the content because that content the model is not trained on, right? So that content won't be available in the training data set. So if I ask who won the World Cup in 2026, it basically goes, searches it, and gets the information. So it's a web search. That is what we would like to understand. The main point here is that the model is not trained on the data, which is sort of latest. It's not trained on the latest data, as well as data which is sort of internal. I just showed an example for Nextleaf. It can be for different companies, right? So there are some limitations of LLM, and this is how we'll like to shape this and probably handle these things, right? So let me go back to the slides. Let me present. Right. So we'll define what is RAG in a minute, but I just ran one of the scenarios to you. It can be a different scenario, right? So let's say you are working in a company, you are a financial analyst. You ask what is your company's travel reimbursement limit, right? Let's say we have Anuja who says, and let's say Karthik, these two folks, right, from our cohort, the both of them are discussing. So Anuja says to Karthik that she believes it is 5,000 per month, and she says that she heard someone talking. Let's say she heard Prem talking about it, right? So there are two problems with it. The one thing is she believes it is 5,000 per month. It may or may not be, and she says she remembers someone talking, right? So she is quoting, Prem is sort of talking about it, right? Now the two primary issues is that one is that of course you need to understand is the information true or not, right? So the resource uh, currently, when 1 or 2 years back, LLM or in general ChatGPT didn't cite the source. It used to give the information. It used to say the information is from New York Times or Times of India, and So this statement, right, has two problems with it, two main issues. We'll discuss about those. The first issue is no, we would say authentic source, right? Instead of relying on, let's say, Prem, in this case, she should have relied on the HR or on the company policy document, something of that sort, right? So Anuja didn't sort of provide any actual or convincing source, right? So that is first issue. This is how LLMs work. They generate responses based on patterns learned in the training period, right? um, GPT stands for pre-trained. So whatever things the model has learned during its training period, that information is given, right? So if the sources were not there, not mentioned there, you won't get that information as well. So there won't be any way to trace the information where it has came from or validate it, right? Second issue is that out of date knowledge. It can happen that the policy has changed. A live or real life example would be I'm not sure how many of you guys are working, but there has been change by the in the parliament. If you guys remember that, there's something called as meal coupon, right? So you are given per month 2200 allowance for food. That allowance has been increased essentially, right? So if we would have referred to the earlier information would be 2200 per month, right? So what happens is basically, let's say your salary is 1 lakh, so 1 lakh minus 2200, and the remaining amount, let's say 97,800, that is only the taxable income that you have, right? So your tax basically goes down and you save money. So that is the idea. That information is new information, right? It has just came recently. So point being that that is based on the information about the analyst, right? It can become outdated. So what Anuja believed was, let's say she heard this statement 2 years back. Now the information has changed. So LLMs face the same problem. They are trained on a fixed data set till certain on there is a certain knowledge cutoff date, right? Which we saw for GPT, it is 2024 September. For different models, it will be different, of course, and different companies would have a different cutoff date, right? So Gemini would have a different cutoff date, and same DeepSeek, etc. So they cannot access the current information unless it is explicitly updated through retraining, right? So I'll tell you how they access it. Basically, they search it, but ideally, you won't be able to get this information in reality. So 99% of the time, these two things are the main core problems. Uh, of course, there are a lot of problems, but in terms of output, right, these two are main limitations, right? I take a pause. Have we understood at least what problems does LLM have? At least these two problems. Is it clear? Anyone from the chat, from the invite? Cool. Clear. So let's go ahead. Now, there are three ways to improve a model's output, right? The first way is prompt engineering. I like to call it, it's basically it's an art of giving instructions, right? The second way is RAG, which we will define. The third way is fine tuning. It's basically a specialized degree. If you guys remember the earlier session, we improved the output, we improved the way the output is formatted, what things we require in our output, what things to consider in our output. We had some guardrails as well that the output should not contain answers, etc., etc. Right? The output should contain only questions. The output should be for various question types, for various subcategories, for query versus normal theoretical questions, right? So that was something that we improved the model's output by giving instructions, right? Now, prompt engineering, of course, will work if the model's books basically have that data, right? In the event the model doesn't have that data, Prompt, even you write the best prompt, you won't get that answer because the model doesn't have that information, right? So you need to pass that information, right? So you'll understand what is RAG essentially and why I like to call it open book exam, right? RAG stands for retrieval augmented generation. So retrieval basically getting relevant data. Augmentation is basically adding. It's literally the definition. Add data to prompt, and generation is create answer. So I'll just explain this through an actual workflow so that we'll understand better. Okay. So the above diagram is the standard diagram which is used by ChatGPT or any of the LLM models, right? Any of the LLMs. You give the prompt, which is sort of the input. You pass the input. You give it to let's say ChatGPT. ChatGPT uses its own internal knowledge and it generates the response, right? So this is step one, step two, step three, right? What happens in RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation, you give the prompt, right? But it may happen that the idea is that some information might not be there with the existing LLM, right? So what you end up doing is that you say, hey, you had you had trained on a lot of books, a lot of articles, etc. Let me give you more books which are relevant to my use case. So let's say in NextLeap case, it will be NextLeap's company documentation, right? For parliament cases, it will be parliament proceedings, etc. Whatever articles, whatever transcripts those are, right? That will be the case. So what you do is you say that, hey, I have extra books, sort of, or extra documents, extra articles, etc., which is called as an external knowledge base, right? So this is the extra part that we have. So you have your prompt here, you have the knowledge base here. What you do is you of course don't directly consume the complete knowledge base into the prompt. You don't put everything here. You say that you will pick relevant content. So basically sort of search, right? You will search for the relevant content. So let's say I'm just taking an example. There are 100 books. So you had a doubt regarding leave policy. So there is one book which explains leave policy. So you just retrieve that book. So there is a retriever option, a retriever uh, mechanism is there, which retrieves the relevant book, right? Once you have that, the process is same. You only use the retrieved information. You of course have your prompt. You pass it to LLM, and then you generate the response, right? So you have more information regarding the topic that you wanted to know about, right? Because we discussed in the previous slide, no source and out of knowledge, these cases would be there. So how do you handle those? Is you pass the sources on the new knowledge, right, in a form of a knowledge base, and then you pass it here. You give this input, and this goes to LLM, and it generates response. Right. I'll just explain the next slide, and then I'll just ask if you guys have any doubt, right? So in the RAG framework, the model gets these instructions. Basically, you go retrieve the relevant content, combine that with user's question, and generate answer, right? So there is an extra step. Basically, you're retrieving content. Now the prompt that you have, right? This prompt, it is slightly an enhanced prompt. The reason for that is the prompt should also, there should be some mentioning, right? That you have to pick the relevant content. So you have the instruction, what the model should do. Retrieve content is the relevant information from the data store. So it's the instruction, you have the relevant information. Then you have the user's question, whatever query the user had, right? And this will help basically to give a better output. LLM would be generating output from its memory, from its earlier trained data. So what happens is when a user asks something, uh, LLM basically this function retrieves relevant chunks. Now, this is what is going, I'm going in depth, but it is not required. This knowledge base, right? Uh, at the end of the day, it is a lot of text. We discussed last time that your text is converted into embeddings. So at the end of the day, what happens is all your text is basically vector embedding. So you have numbers essentially, right? So these embeddings are retrieved, is what I wanted to say. Now these chunks are sent to LLM. LLM generates answer using that context. Two important information. After you got the response, right, LLM is not saving whatever you gave it, the external knowledge base. That is one important information. The reason for that is, imagine there is something in companies, right? There is something called as privacy, right? You can't have your uh, some sort of confidential data so that the public can access it. Now, this RAG workflow, right, helps you so that you don't give that opportunity, because what happens is LLM is not saving any data. So data is not saved inside the LLM model. Every time when you have to do this thing, right, you will pass the knowledge base. LLM will go through the knowledge base and give a response. You're not saving any knowledge base data to the LLM. That is one. There is no retraining of model that happens, right? What does retraining mean? It means that you might think that if I'm giving a use case, I passed it like 100 or 1000 times. Now it should not be necessary that I should pass this knowledge base, right? Something of that sort. That won't be possible because your model has not been trained. You need to change your model. So we have versions like 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4 for GPT. That means that the model has been trained on newer information, newer data, some guardrails are put in, etc. Right? In this scenario, in RAG workflow, no retraining happens. Whenever you want to train something or train a model, you need to give a lot of information. That is why you need a lot of GPUs essentially. So you must have heard companies like Nvidia, etc., have been accelerated from the year 2020, right? At least in terms of stock price, they have been accelerated. So they have been providing GPUs which are used to train LLM models. Google has TPUs, right? So this is the important workflow. I'll take a pause here. Did everyone understand what is happening? Is it intuitive? We understood what cons are. Then we tried to address those cons basis some information, right, which is called as external knowledge base. And that is what is RAG workflow. So you retrieve, you augment, and you generate. So these two are like straightforward. Yeah. If you guys have doubts, you can ping in the chat. Uh, Agents would be a different concept. So I have got a question. Can we not loop it through agents? We'll discuss something about agents in the next session, Rohan. It is like it's different, right? What we have agents. So let's that is going two steps ahead. At the end of the day, that will also use this only, but that is going sort of two steps ahead. So you'll have an agent which is doing sort of the same thing. Uh, how is this different or similar to notebook LM? Just a second. I would need to check that. What exactly is that? So I'll just answer that in a couple of minutes, Prem. Yeah. Others, RAG does not store external knowledge, right? Yes, Shabana, correct. RAG does not store this knowledge base or your extra books just for the sake of discussion. So that is right. Let me just mark it up. Yeah. So I'll go ahead. We'll just discuss what are cons of RAG, and then I'll just explain fine tuning, and then we'll go towards building something on RAG, right? Um, so the major cons of RAG, of course, it takes more time. So if you compare it with a normal LLM, uh, the time that it takes to provide a result is slightly higher. It depends on the what size of your data set. But what happens is RAG uses an extra step. So you search, retrieve, then answer. Compared to a normal LLM, it has slower response. The way I like to call it is RAG trades its speed for accuracy. So you get better accurate results, but it trades its speed for it. The second important aspect is the quality of document, right? If you give a bad document, right, the knowledge base, if you have wrong if there are bad documents or the document information is not correct, etc., that will eventually give the output bad, right? It will be a wrong result. Plus, you should be able to retrieve the information correctly. If you're retrieving wrong documents, if you're getting the results wrong, while getting results, you were missing some documents. So that will again give a bad output, right? There is something called as infrastructure and other cost. So unlike when you use simple prompting, RAG needs to store the data, right, in form of docs, PDFs, etc. I told you this store that happens, right? Then it is converted to vector embeddings. So that is called as, it is stored in a vector DB essentially. And to convert, you need to generate embeddings. But the point that is basically the infra cost increases because of the data storage, right? So it is slightly or it is more expensive than your basic prompting. The reason for that is, of course, you need to store it. In basic prompt, you don't need to store any kind of data. Your data can go large in size, in TBs, in GBs, etc. Right. So that is one of the more issues or cons of RAG. Right. So let's go ahead. The third part is fine tuning, how to improve the model. This is something that won't be relevant to you as well as at times to me as well, right? Fine tuning. So I'll just explain this, what it means. So fine tuning is basically training an existing model. Let's take GPT 5.4. So you train an existing model on some specific data to improve its expertise, right? So let's say you have a model and you had the responses on leave policies, right, for next leave. Now you don't want to always pass the documents, etc. You don't want to store it. So what you do is you train the model, you make the existing model better by giving a lot of examples, by providing the domain specific data set, and by adjusting the model's weight, right? Once you adjust those weight, once you give a lot of training examples, once you give the domain specific data set, the model basically trains and the model basically learns everything about your domain, right? So this comes to training the model. So you're changing the model. So it will be like GPT 5.4. If it was GPT 5.4, it will now GPT 5.5, for example. Or it can be, let's say you are using GPT 5.4. So you can have it like 5.4.1, something of that sort, some different nomenclature. But the idea is that you train an existing model on specific data to improve its expertise. Now, this, is it useful? The answer is yes. Is it being used a lot? The answer is maybe. The problem, what is happening is that the models are becoming so good in general, the newer models that are coming. You give a lot of time to fine tune things, right? But eventually, the next model has those things. You spend a lot of resources here because for training you need to give GPUs. So there is some infra cost also there, which is a cost to business essentially. And there are other things as well, like you need to prepare a list of input and output examples, right? So for example, GPT, you are basically a company, a very large scale companies which analyzes reviews, right? So you bucket reviews into multiple categories and you have multiple subcategories as well. Now GPT is not giving a great output. So what you do is you prepare a list of examples that if this is the review, you should have this. If this is a review, you should have this. Right? Now you can give this in prompt engineering. We learned something called as few shot, but there is a limit to what you can do, right? You can give 10 examples, 15 examples, but eventually that will increase the size of tokens and the example length would also be higher, right? So your input tokens will be very large essentially. So what you decide to do is you decide to make the model better you will use whatever GPT is trained on, plus you would give your own input and output. Now, to prepare this examples, right, it takes a lot of time, a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. And then you take this, plus you have the GPUs, then you fine tune the model, and the model becomes better. It may or may not become better, right? So again, you need to check that. Again, you need to handle those use cases. So there is something called as train, there is something called as test, right? So it's a time taking process essentially. What I've seen is people do fine tune models. It's not that difficult. It's just that things are moving fast, right? So people are not doing it anymore. So the advantages, of course, you will have the domain expertise. It will have faster responses because now we are not searching anything. In RAG, we were searching, we were retrieving the content, right? Now you have made the model itself better. So you don't need to retrieve the content. It is the normal model. The way you have given the examples, that tone, that format would come. There is no external dependency. What I mean by that is there is no databases. It is repetitive. It will give same answer to the questions that were asked earlier, right? The disadvantages, it is clear, it is expensive because it requires GPU, data requirement. You need thousands of quality examples. Um, and of course, no real time data. What it means is that once you have trained the model, right? Again, it can happen that after 2, 3 days, there is some new thing that has happened, right? Again, you have to pass that information. So in RAG, what you used to do, you can just add that book quickly. But here again, you would need to give a lot of examples, a lot of things that there is a new concept coming. You need a lot of example of that, right? So there won't be any real-time access. You just would have a new knowledge cutoff date. In GPT 5.4, it was September 2024. You would have, let's say, if you fine tune it, you would have a higher cutoff date, right? There are two concepts in machine learning. I won't go into these, but the point here is that if you give some sort of data, right, it might fail on the new cases. So it might overfit. And there is something called as catastrophic forgetting. What it means is that GPT in general had other capabilities as well, right? So it start losing those capabilities, start losing those general knowledge because now that you have given a lot of examples here, it start focusing on this more and start losing this. So you can skip these two parts. It's more towards on the machine learning side, but this was just for explanation, right? So today we won't be doing a case study on this. We would be doing the case study on RAG. So I'll take a pause here. Uh, has everyone understood what is RAG and what is fine tuning? You can unmute yourself and put it out in chat. No doubts, clear. Prem, Archana, Sridevi, is it clear? Arjun, Tarun, is everything clear? Cool, 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 cool. ठीक है. Right. So let me answer some questions which were asked. Someone asked, what is the use case for this, right? Why would you use it? So, Prem, the idea is that imagine a real life use case, right? In our company, I'll just tell you that. So, we were trying to create a knowledge bank, right? A question bank for skills. Now, it can happen that you as a person, right, or GPT doesn't have information about all these skills. So you, let's say there is some new skill, bioengineering or material science, something new has come up, and you don't have questions on those, right? Now what you do is that you say, okay, wait, let me ask the company itself what kind of questions they ask. So basically, you are getting the books out, right? And you say to the company, or you say to the client that, hey, you can just give me your questions. We'll get your questions. That is basically your external knowledge base, and using that plus the LLM, you can ask new questions as well, right? So you are not hindered by your ability to know information about different skills, right? Because eventually model has also limitations. It can't ask questions about all the skills, right? So you would need information about different skills. So in this case, let's say there is something regarding semiconductor, some sort of skill, right? Which you don't have any questions in the question bank. We were trying to create question bank for SQL. Let's say we don't have anything for that. Now you have that, right? Now you have that capability. So it's a real life use case. We use RAG in this way. So that has questions about skills which we have not, which we don't know essentially, right? Of course, over time we might train the model, but it is not required. The reason for that is, think about it. Um, in a skill, right? If even if you have 200 to 300 questions, right, it is enough. The way I've arrived at that number is because, taking the prompt engineering example here, you have, let's say, a skill name as SQL. SQL would have some subcategories like joins, query based questions, theoretical questions. So these are question type. Subcategories will be joins, windows functions, etc. Right? So there would be five subcategories, two type of question types. So five into two. There will be difficulty, easy, medium, hard into three. So five into two is 10, 10 into three is 30. So 30 questions so you require. Now you would require at least thrice of that. The reason for that is, whenever you give an interview in a company, generally people put that information on Glassdoor, right? So you require thrice of that. So your question repository for SQL will be like 250 to 60 questions only. So this information is very less in size, to be honest, right? 260 questions won't even take more than an MB or something of that sort. So if you're saving it in JSON, etc. So from that point of view, right, it is not required to fine tune the model, but it makes more sense to use RAG, right? So I hope that is clear. Okay, I'm not sure. Yeah. So I'll answer one more question, but in the interest of time, right, we will move to the case study. Rohan, I'll get back to your question in some time, right? So the case study, just a second. Yeah. You must have seen ads of Zapier. I'm not sure if you have seen it. Today, we would be using Zapier to build a chatbot which handle travel related queries. So your task is to design a chatbot, your own curated chatbot, uh, which has some extra capabilities. So I'll explain that in a minute. I'll give an example for this so that everyone is on board, right, on page. So imagine that just give me a second. Right. So imagine you are an AI builder for a travel booking site, booking.com, right? So let's prioritize air travel for now, flights essentially. Now there would be some information that you would be asking the chatbot, right? So you are a builder, but you have to think from a real user point of view, right? So people ask these queries that, hey, what charges will I get if I cancel my flight, right? So you say, let me just put it right now. Let me just show it to you. Uh, Charges. Right. So we got this generic information, right? This doesn't help me, right? If you were working for booking.com, it is not going to help you. That, hey, most airlines detect a cancellation fee. What fee? How much fee? We don't know, right? Now, the reason why this response was given is because I wrote in two lines. So if I give a, again the same prompt, I might need to start. Yeah, so it has started giving me some response, right? So now it is saying that within 48 hours, it is usually zero cancellation fee. After that, it is some X cancellation fee, right? So you get some information, but you want to get more specific into that. That what will happen if the cancellation is happened because of the flight. I have not done the cancellation. Would I be compensated the same amount? Would I be compensated more amount? Uh, let's say if the flight, I have come to the airport and the flight is delayed, right? Now the flight is delayed because of the airlines. Would I be provided some things? If it is delayed by X hours, would I be provided some different compensation? It is if it is delayed by Y hours, would I be provided a different compensation? Right. So this is cancellation is one sort of use case for the chatbot. There are multiple use cases. The second use case can be um, what it can be insurance, right? You lose something or baggage, right? You lose something. So airlines states that they will give you 10,000 rupees for your baggage loss. But let's say you contained more items in that. Can you get a better insurance? Right. So you as a user will ask these questions to the airlines, right? Now the chatbot doesn't have these things. It won't have those nuanced things. It will have the generic information, right? So this is generic information. This is, in my opinion, what we call as 1920s, right? It is like 2,500, 5,000. It is not accurate. It is roughly this amount. But you, if you're building a chatbot for booking.com, right, you need to be accurate there. You need to tell that, hey, if this is this, then it is greater than this. If it is this, it is this much amount, and so on and so forth, right? So your task is to build a chatbot. Of course, we need to create our own knowledge base, right? We learned that RAG works best if we have our own knowledge base, right? Some information, of course, LLM will have. So you're not helping anything, right? If you don't have better knowledge base. So your task today would be your task today would be to create 3 to 5 features. So let me just see the count of people that we have today. It is a team exercise. There are 17 people. We'll have groups of 3. So 5 people in each group. It's a smaller this thing. People do this by 7 or 8 people, but I believe 3 groups are enough. Your task today is to come up with, let's say, 3 feature, only 3 feature. One is, let's say, cancellation. I just gave an example of cancellation. You may or may not pick that. You can pick rescheduling, insurance, change of dates, change of name, etc., etc. Up to you. It's open to you. Uh, but that information should not be publicly available, right? So if I ask, let's say I ask booking.com, it gave me some generic information, right? Your idea is to create something which is pinpoint accurate. So if I was a user and I was going through the same thing, I would ask those things to chatbot that, hey, what happens if this happens? What should I do when this happens? Right? So your idea would be to come up with 3 features. That is one that the chatbot should support. The second thing is, which is the most important thing, you need to create the data set. Data set, all of you would need to create it. That's why there is a group of 5 so that you can discuss among yourself and you can put all the pointers. I'll give an example of a pointer for cancellation that it should have some different pricing basis the time I cancel, right? So my flight is tomorrow. If I cancel tonight, it should have ideally a different pricing. If I cancel 7 days before, it should have ideally a different cancel pricing, right? Something of that sort. Now, of course, you will ask a lot of question to bot as well. So think from the user's point of view, right? If I cancel, can I reschedule? What is refund, etc., etc. So I just gave cancellation as an example, but there are some other features also you should think about because there are 3 features that you need to come up with. Cancellation easy होगा सोचने के लिए, but you need to come up with 3 features. One would be insurance, baggage loss, change of rescheduling, etc., etc. Right? So think about it. The second point is knowledge base. You can imagine simple. If I have to keep it simple, right? there will be a Google Doc or a Word. You would write that information, you will type it out, that if this is the case, we should do this, if this is the case, you should do this, and so on and so forth. And that information will be there. So you will create your own knowledge base in the form of doc. We'll use a no code platform because that will be easier for us to understand the concept of RAG, right? Why and where helpful RAG is. So we'll be using Zapier for now. What we'll do is, once you have your knowledge base ready, Zapier allows us to connect our data set, which might be PDF, Word, Doc, etc. And we'll get responses based on the actual data, right? Not 2000 to 5000, not generic information. It will be on the actual data that you have provided in the data set, in the document, right? So this is the case. Um, I'll create 3 breakout rooms. So before creating the breakout rooms, I want someone to present the screen so that I just show how to log into Zapier, right? And then I'll just create 3 breakout rooms and we will do this exercise. So just give me a second. I'll just give you the document, Google slide, so that everyone has the slides. Prem, is it okay if you present it so that everyone follows it, that how to create an account on Zapier? I just want to make sure that everyone is clear. Yeah, Prem, can you present it? Yeah. Are you able to present? Yeah, awesome. So Zapier, right? So this is the ZAPIER. So you can click on this. You can sign through your Google account. That will be very much faster. So select one account and then you would be inside it, right? So I'll just write the name of the website as well, so everyone can go through that. So just let's just see Prem doing it for now. You need to give some information. So just select something. Uh, that is fine. You can select anything. Skip the question for now. Yeah. Right. So below that, right, you see chatbot, AI powered chatbot. Can you click on that? Awesome. Ideally, yeah. I think there is some bug. Ideally, why this thing is happening? Yeah, can you click sign up? Okay, can you click on Zapier towards the left corner? Okay, okay. Went back. Left hand side, top left, Zapier, the logo that is written, right? Can you click on it? Can you click on left plus? Towards the left, there is a plus in orange color. Create. Chatbots. Okay. Is there some issue? There is a warning, but it's from May 2 and May. It's a maintenance on May, right? Can others also try it out? If others also getting the same issue? I just checked it in morning. Actually, it was
I'm also getting the same issue.
okay. Just a second. Just a second. Prem, can you search for Zapier free trial on the Google Chrome? Another tab. Because I'm still seeing Zapier free trial version available. Hmm. There is free trial. I can see it.
Usually, I'm able to do it.
Okay. Okay. Is it Prem? Is it okay if she presents it so that everyone is able to follow? Yeah. We need actually just 3 folks who are able to do it. Um, for now, at least, right? Can you just present it? I just went to articles. The articles gives that free trial is available. Yeah, you can give the chatbot name travel chatbot, something of that sort. Yeah, create. Yeah, so this is the 14-day free trial. So just a second. I just want to ensure others are also able to do it. The idea is that you would be able to access the free trial. You can see on the left hand side there is advanced trial available. You get an access for 14 days, which helps you out. I'll just explain using Manisha's UI, and then we'll start the exercise, right? Um, the uh, the UI has multiple components. You have a greeting component like a chatbot. The first thing is how can I help you? If you see below, there is a directive where it has written that you are an exceptional customer support representative. Your objective is to answer questions and provide resources about, in our case, booking.com, etc., etc. To achieve this, follow these guidelines. If you just scroll down, Manisha, can you scroll down there? Yeah. It gives that the style of communication should be friendly, kind, professional. Um, for any, always answer the questions from the knowledge base itself, right? So there are some other rules. These other rules, this is basically a prompt to put it in one line. We had some rules like in our previous exercise that don't give answers in your questions, right? Whenever you're generating questions. So here, yeah, the use whatever information we are going to get, we are going to get it from the knowledge base. So I can ask anything about cancellation. It should come from the knowledge base, right? So your knowledge base should consist everything about cancellation, right? So this is what the prompt is. You might not need to change a lot, a couple of things, maybe just booking.com, etc. This is where the things happen. Towards the right, right? Ask me anything. Can you just type something there? Ask me anything. Uh, what is the cancellation charges, for example? So it should ideally respond that there is no knowledge base, is my hunch. But yeah. Yeah. So of course it doesn't, we would need to give the details about the company, etc. Right. So we will need to, so this is the chatbot, right? Second important thing is, can you click on the left hand side? There is a hamburger menu. Can you click on the AI model? Second last option. No, not on this. Uh, Above settings. Yeah. So you see GPT 4.1 is being used currently, which is fine for our use case for our learning purposes. You can change a lot of things. You can integrate a lot of things. For now, we will just skip it. Integrations, if you go to into integrations, right, you will see some other apps. You can change the theme, the UI, etc. Again, it is not required. You can for now, you can change the logic as well. If this is said, you reply this. If this is said, you reply this, and so on and so forth. Right. So we have other folks also who have gotten. So that's great. So the main thing, we'll go to the main part. Can you click on the knowledge second option? Right. This is where you would need to add your knowledge base, right? So it would, you can see there is a lot of information here, but the important information is you can upload a CSV, PDF, doc, etc. Right. So just create a doc where you have your information, and then if you just click on add your first knowledge source, you just need to upload that file. It is as simple as that, right? So this is the UI. So we have three folks. So we'll split teams basis these three folks. Not everyone has to use Zapier for now. You can use it in your spare time. But the idea is that prepare the knowledge base together, right? So I'll create three breakout rooms. Just give me a second. Uh, how many folks do we have? We have 16. Okay. We'll have. So I'll just write the name of the room by the candidate's name so it is easier for folks to know which room to join in. Lab Harsh. Arjun, do you have your, is your internet great at your end?
It's good enough. Like,
Yeah.
I would define great. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, last time I remember it was, there was some this
Yeah,
thing.
it was not my internet. It was my laptop. It was
Oh,
lagging a lot, so I got it fixed.
got it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
got it. So there are three rooms which are created. One is Manisha, second is Harsh, third is Arjun. I have shared these slides in the group. The objective is clear. You have to come up with three features for airlines. It can be anything you can think of. But if I ask questions to the chatbot regarding that feature, right, the chatbot should answer me. Because if I'm a user, right, I would ask questions that what should I do in this case? Where should I go? What happens? Etc. Etc. Right? If you have insurance, what happens if someone dies? What happens if someone doesn't die but is injured? Right? What kind of compensation are we looking for? Who would get compensated? Who is the nominee? I didn't give any nominee, etc. etc. Right? So think from a user's point of view, and that's how we will try to get things. So I'm starting to assign people right now. Just give me a second. We have, so Abbas, Nida, Anuja, Kamble, Archana Sarkar, and Fez, right? Can you join Manisha's room? So I'm opening all the rooms. Give me a second. Uh, just a second. Manisha, you can also join the room.
I'm sorry, I'm not able to find it. How can I
Okay.
join?
Okay, just give me a second. You should get it now. right? So you should have got it now. Yeah. So for Arjun, you of course have to go to your room. Prem can go to Arjun's room. Shri can go to Shri's room.
Hi, Prem, how's it going?
Hi.
He's still assigning people. Uh, yeah, I think people are joining. Me one more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I think we have the team here. So how many times? We have 40 minutes. We circle back at 12:10. Here we have. You guys can hear me, right? Hello, 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 people. Yeah. What about the rest? Devi, Lakshmi, Karthik. Can you
Hey
hear me?
Arjun, your voice is breaking actually.
Yeah. Wait. How about now? Is it better?
Yeah.
Cool. So we have 40 minutes. We have to come up with 3 features for the chatbot. And where's that PDF?
We have to create it in a doc, right? So in a Google Doc or something.
I think we have to create it in a doc and we have to
Right.
okay. So I think that's the case. Then I would need to create a doc. Just a moment. You guys can see my screen, right? This is Microsoft Word window. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Visible? Yeah. So we need to find 3 core user problems first. So, you know, can take like 2 minutes, and everybody can write their top 3 problems in the chat. Then we can discuss what are the best 3 problems that our team can come up with to solve. Okay. Prem, Devi, Lakshmi, Karthik.
Hey Arjun, I
Yeah.
didn't hear you.
I
Hello.
said, yeah, okay. I mean, you've already done it. Mail options. I was saying like we could take 2 minutes, and everybody can come up with a list of like 3, 4 problems that they think could be
Got
solved
it.
with the chat. So since you've already like shared it, so I mean, it's cool.
Okay. We can wait
Kar-
anyhow. Yeah,
yeah,
that's okay.
Karthik, Sridevi, Prem. Can someone confirm that we are building this chatbot for our airline business or something else? Yeah, we have to build it for our airline business. Yes. But you have no. I don't think it's for someone else. It's just for us. But yeah, we have to think from a user perspective. So you have the freedom to take the experiences of the users, like your own personal experiences, or your friends, or your families. There you go. So think of some problems, and till 11:40, we'll start picking up the problems, because we have to create the doc and we have to upload it into this chatbot. And I don't know how this works, to be honest. Okay. Yes, no responses. What about you, Sridevi, Karthik?
Yeah, I am actually chat GPT. I'm asking for the doc requirements. So I'm preparing the doc now.
Okay, no, all these requirements can be done later, right? First thing is finding the problem. If we don't have the core problems, then what's the point?
Okay.
So we need to come up with problems first. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So you guys come up with the problems, but I can only think of 3 problems related to my experiences. So what about you, Karthik, Prem, Shridevi? Anything you guys come up with 3 problems? Hmm. Karthik, are you here? Can you hear me? Hello, Karthik. Hmm. No problem. Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. Thanks. And Shrudevi, what about you? Indian management funds.
So yeah, I came up with flight booking and management refunds, and then it is baggage policy for if they ask if I have 7 kilos or 10 kilos of baggage, then how much that would cost, and the flight status if it is on time, delayed or cancelled, and the check-in rules like within 40 minutes or 1 hour, the time they have to check in, and travel guidance like if they put up a specific destination, what is the good time to book tickets for it, what is the weather like on the specific dates that they are asking, and in which date that can be booked at a low cost that would be preferred by the travelers, and the
Mhm.
weather updates in that specific destination.
Got it. Okay, so I think the baggage thing is almost everybody, right? Yeah, I highlighted it, and then Prem also mentioned it, and you mentioned it. I think we could do the first thing. We could move towards the like a baggage related to something, and then second. Cancellation and refund. Cancellation.
Arjun, are you writing it on the
No,
sheet?
not yet.
Because
Not yet.
not yet. No? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Cancellation. Yeah, we can do cancellation or that's specific. So cancellation. let's see. Okay, legislation related health on. And the third would be health baggage, life management. Yeah, so lead collection, date chain. Yeah, we can, but I want to keep it very simple because mails is the variety of brains, right? So there will be a lot of information needed for that. Even for the small time, we like 12, 10. We have like 10, 20 minutes. So we can do something very simple. Uh, Better updates, right? We can do better updates in a specific destination. Or mm, seat selection. Lakshmi, you mentioned seat selection, right? So how can chatbot help you with the seat selection? Can you give me like a quick example? I'm still trying to wrap my head.
Seat selection, maybe the charges around the seat selection or something like that. Which would the preferable seat selections? Maybe something, or we could also do bank offers, or meal options is the easier one.
We do that. Or you also mentioned that the day change option. So what is that?
That's nothing but rescheduling.
Rescheduling, right? So somebody also mentioned, right? I think it was Shri. She mentioned, right? If I want to make changes to my flight schedule and book it on a later, much cheaper.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you can do that. Yeah, yeah. Okay, get that. Rebooking and rebooking.
Arjun, are you typing it on the screen? Because
No, I'm not.
we are.
It's on the document. Now I'll start doing it. So now when I am in the document, now you guys help me with the format. Like, what should be the format? Is it the one that is written in this PDF here? What you need to procedure, jobs to be done? No, right? It has to be a structured format, the document, right? So I think I need to create a table first, structured format. Uh, this Yeah, we can do that. Okay. Let me also check that. Takes things.
I saw that we can upload that docs link directly to the chatbot knowledge without
Yeah.
converting it
Okay.
to
Yeah.
a PDF
Yes.
file.
It says in here, sync Google Docs and Notion. Okay. Cool. Then I need to create a Google Sheet. Don't save. Create a Google Sheet. Mm, Okay, the URL is here in the chat. Can you guys see the link?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I think the first thing to add would be to add the category, whether it's what's that? Baggage cancellation and rebooking. So the first would be baggage. Second would be cancellation, and third would be okay. Then what else? So 2 minutes important. That's the bottom. So that's what that check. Okay. What else? What else? What else? What else? What can we add here? Because I'm not really sure. What's sort of the format? The prototype is in
Should we put this in the LLM and then ask for the chat conversation sample and then paste it and then edit ourselves? Should we do that?
When you can do that, we need to have a structure of the document first, right?
Yeah.
So we need to add basic information like what is the category of the question, then there has to be some kind of a criteria, right? So the chatbot could actually give helpful responses. For example, cancellation. So if I'm canceling before like 48 hours, then what should be the cancellation charges? And if it's less than 24, if it's less than 4 hours, then no cancellation, only 10%. What kind of that could be the structure. But before that, it's making a bit of it. The structure of the document. Still thinking about. Hmm. So, let's Google it. Okay. Connected to my Google. We can. I don't think it takes the sheet because it mentioned Google Doc and oh, okay, we have to go first. We have to. ah, sorry, Preem. You were saying something related to the model. Hello, Preem. Yes, you mentioned something related to model, right? Okay, let's do that.
Prem, are you adding any specific airline web link or just like search wala link, something like that? Okay. I'll also try that way. Maybe on Gemini. Uh, also provide some structure.
So if you want to know, you can share the URLs directly because here is a feature. If you can see the chat box, can you see it? So if you have the public URL, right? Like the article page of or something, a website on it. Huh? So I can do that, and then I can add URL in here. Then I can select the software clothes and clothes subpages. So it will snap all the information and create a document on its own from the backend. Okay. Get anything? Please. Hello, Prem. Can you hear me? So you're gonna paste it in this Excel sheet, or you're gonna give me a like entire new file? Yeah, if you could, generate a PDF out of it, it'll be better. Or just give me the URL. Let me have a look at it. Let's see how that URL works. Otherwise, I'll have to paste the URL here on the page and let's see how this particular thing is. Mm-hmm. You know, uh, okay. I mean, it's almost over. Did you find? Mm-hmm. I got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Waiting it to return to main screen. Wait. Okay. I see. This. Okay. So I got it. I'm going to paste it in here. Let's see. Ready?
Recording in progress.
There was one question asked by Preem. I have answered it as well. The question was, there is something called as Notebook LLM actually. It's a product by Google. Um, I believe, guessing from the time it was asked, right? He said that it is sort of similar to what RAG is. But RAG is basically the architecture itself, right? So it's not just the documents. It's, of course, you have to set up the DB, convert everything to embeddings, etc., right? What you are using is a product actually. So Notebook LLM is a product. You can have different products, right? Which uses the same architecture. So we'll start in the interest of time. Um, Right. I would say that, to be honest, it is like UPI. So the architecture is same, but we just have different apps. So Phone Pay, Google Pay, etc. So Phone Pay is basically a notebook LLM, just for reference. So there will be another product. So they are at the end of the day using the same technical architecture in the backend, which is RAG, which we just discussed, right? So in the backend, of course, the way they have shown do it is, I was just exploring that you can directly upload a document, etc. Right? But at the end of the day, technical architecture is this only, that whatever document is uploaded, it is get converted into vector embeddings, etc. So the backend, or you would say the architecture, is same. It's just that it's a product essentially, nothing more than that. Okay, so we'll start with mm, uh, by alphabetically. So Arjun's team can start first, right?
I mean, we were still stuck on the structure of the, I think, the knowledge, because we were not sure
Okay.
like if we could upload create a structured document like in Excel, and like we created the last time, right? So we can have like different sections, like this is the category of the question, then this is the criteria, and this is the response. Or we could completely upload a PDF. So we were stuck on that, so we couldn't proceed forward from that step.
Okay, you could have asked me, Alap. I would have helped you out. But let's see what others have done, right? Let's maybe try to see.
Yeah,
Everyone is learning, right? So that's fine.
yeah.
Anisha, can you go ahead and present it out?
Yes, Ujjwal. Just a sec.
So
Can you
I
see
believe,
it?
yeah, I can see it, right? So um, I'll ask, just can you click on restart chat, right?
Okay.
Towards the right hand
Okay.
side top. At the top. Yeah, yeah. Restart chat. Yeah.
Okay.
So question to you guys is what features you guys have picked? So
Yeah. So actually, in our group, only me and Anuja were like majorly discussing about the topics and other things.
okay.
And what we decided that we'll pick three major points,
Mm,
but we have added around 4 to 5. The first one is we have added
okay.
destination, price, and I mean the entire departure time and booking and everything, like the entire booking process and ticket rates, timings, and all. The second thing that we have added in the data is like the condition in case of medical emergency. So, what is the eligibility of getting a refund?
Okay. So
And
one
then
is
the third,
destination, second is medical plus sort of what?
refund, related to refund in case
Okay.
of medical emergency. The third one is I mean, the broad topic is like issue. And we have added in case of lost baggage, what would be the entire steps.
Okay.
And
And
the last one is special discounts.
okay, got
Yeah.
it. Okay, I've got the idea. Can you go to
Mhm.
the chat box, zoom
Yeah,
out
yeah.
a little bit? Yeah.
Just-
Just one feedback, right? Destination, what I've understood, it is very broad topic. Think about it, right? You would have to cover all the dates of all the places, of all the times the flight can be flown through, right? So it would be
Uh,
like, yeah, yeah.
could you see? I mean, what I meant by probably I'm not able to help you understand it. That what
Yeah, so
exactly I mean.
let's let's wait. We'll go to there, but I as a user, right? Let me start asking questions. We'll go
Sure,
to the
sure,
document as well, so others also understand it.
sure.
Can you write this thing that the airline has lost my baggage? What compensation would I get? Here is what it is. Steps report the lost baggage. Can you go down? Go down. So I'm assuming your document didn't have the compensation. Is that right? Understanding?
Uh, mm, mm, mm.
I again can't.
I'll just have to. No, I don't think that we have added the compensation point.
Got it. That's fine. That's fine. You can circle back, right? So,
Yeah.
point is, I'm a user, right? So I'm going to. This is how I will ask, right? At the end of the day, I too need money, right? At the end of the day, that is how I'm getting compensated. So
Yeah.
I'll ask questions like that. What things it covers? So let's just understand this. It has. Can you just scroll up a bit? Report, can you scroll down slightly? Provide your baggage tag as a proof. File a PRI for the, okay. Can I scroll down? Usually ranges from 7 to 21. Okay. Okay. Good. Right. So the second question was going to be how do I go and file it? But you have sort of written it, right? Which is a good
Mm.
thing. Um, uh, uh, my regarding refund, is it only medical refund you have considered or you have considered other refunds as well?
Specifically for medical emergency.
So my you can write this thing there. My father was traveling in a flight, and let's not put like that. Let me just change it. A close relative of mine got a heart attack in the plane, right? Or before at the airport, right? A close relative of mine got a heart attack at the airport. Uh, would I be compensated any refund here? The reason why I didn't write plain is because it might be that the person has flown, right? So he might not be eligible for refund. So that's why I wanted this case that he has not. Regarding a refund due to refund eligibility may be considered for medical emergencies. A valid, but again, you would require. It's a medical emergency, right? So refund eligibility may be considered for medical emergency. Refund can be partial or full depending on airline's policy. So I'm assuming you have again not written what kind of partial refund you will get and what kind of full refund you will get. Is that right understanding?
Yes, right.
Got it.
Right, correct.
Yeah, you can
I've
go.
only added a valid doctor certificate. Medical proof is required.
Got it. Got it. Now let's ask this question that the hmm, do I have special discounts if I use credit cards? This is how I actually, as a user, search things, right? If I pay through credit card versus UPI, you can write this as well. I believe you would have given it generic, so we would get a generic response that uh, you would get 10% or 15% off. Let's see. Indigo offers a 10% discount for students with a valid student ID. Okay. Regarding sessional discounts like credit, there is no specific airline. Got it. Got it. Got it. The next question would have been actually, but I know it's not there. But next question would have been that with extra discount, would I get extra baggage? So Indigo actually offers extra baggage to students up to 25 kg, if I'm not wrong, right? So I got the idea. Um, let's go through your doc, right? So you got the feedback, right? As a user, at the end of the day, I'll require what compensation I'm going to get, uh, how much refund I'm going to get, how much time it is going to take to process, which was there in your uh, uh, responses. I think 7 to 21 was for the baggage, and for above also there was. So the point that I was trying to make is your data should be exhaustive, so the responses that you give covers everything, right? So can you go to the doc that you have uploaded, Google Doc or
Yes.
whatever doc? Yeah.
I have not formatted it very well.
That's fine. That's fine. It doesn't matter. The reason we are using LLM.
Can you
Okay.
see it?
Yeah, I can see. Okay, you got this information. Can you scroll down? Okay, scroll down, scroll down. Scroll. You require more information actually. You could. I got what you have done. You have written reschedule as well. But okay. My suggestion would be that you as a person, right? Even if you let's say don't copy from somewhere, that is fine. To be honest, इतना बड़ा doc हो रहेगा, right? You would need to do that. But
Yeah.
point is that for even one feature, right? Let's pick a baggage only. You
Mhm.
write by your own hands that this is what should I do this. In this case, this should be done. If I have lost two bags, check-in versus cabin, there is a different compensation, right? So you write like we used to write in school, right? An essay. So you just write it out and then upload that thing. That will be more fruitful to you, in my opinion. Right?
So the data should be more.
Now
I think we need to narrow down the data more.
we need to narrow down the data more because at the end of the day, it's a chatbot, right? So your
Yeah.
user, if you say that, hey, I can handle this feature correctly, I would need to, if I ask questions, right, I would need to get answers on those features, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I said that even if it is only one or two features, that's fine, right? So maybe after this session, over the weekend, you can just work on one feature, but do it in depth and ask someone in
Okay.
your family or someone else that asks questions, right? Who travels, who has a air travel or something of that sort, right? Or maybe if you have some friends in this group, they will test the chatbot, right? So that way
Okay.
it will be easier and you will understand what users' queries are, right? And then you will
Mhm.
understand, okay, my data required these things as well, right?
Okay.
So
So you are saying that let's say I chose a topic I mean related to cancellation charges. So I have to add every possible query related to that.
Right. Your attempt would be to add every possible query related to that. So you can be smart about it. You can just write that if you cancel within 3 days of your flight, you will get X refund.
Mm-hmm.
7 days, you will get X plus Y.
Mm.
If you cancel within 2 hours, you won't get refund. That's
Mm.
simple, right?
Okay.
In the event the flight is cancelled by the airline, so there are two cases here: flight cancelled
Mm.
by you, flight cancelled by airline. If it is cancelled by airline, what would I do? Is the airline compensating me? Are they providing refund? How much
Okay.
time it takes to provide refund? I'm just thinking logically right now, right? As we are
Okay.
talking.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Keeping the user in mind.
right,
Okay.
right. So that will help, right? So good, great
Sound.
work.
Yeah.
We
Can you
can have,
stop sharing? Yeah.
sorry, yeah, you can stop sharing.
Yeah.
Yes. The other group, Harsh, can you present your screen?
Yeah, I think I shared some. I'll share my screen.
Yeah. Okay, Rohan. Yeah. Okay, so let's just restart the chat and just tell me the features.
So we have added policies regarding the cancellation, seat preferences, and additional features that the airline provides. So that is what we have done. So
Okay, so my flight is getting, can you just write this question? My flight is on uh, 28th April 2026. I want to cancel that flight. Will I be, how much refund I will be eligible for? So the others, the way I'm phrasing this question is I'm keeping as a user, right? I'll give these questions. Now, the benefit of using and LLM is basically you don't need to do those date cancellations ideally. So for a flight, it has not done the calculation for us, but it generally does the calculation. So for a flight on 20th April, for domestic flights, if you cancel 24 hours or more, you can get 80%. If you cancel between 10 to 23 hours before departure, okay, you get a 50%. No refund is ever within Canada. Got it. Got it. For international flights, good nuance that you wrote this. I liked it. That international flight is also taken care of. Refunds are made via the original payment mode. That is also important information for the user. Uh, got it. Can you write that the airline has cancelled the flight? Um, have they rebooked it for me? Free booking or a refund option, you should have the choice to be rebooked on an alternate and no additional cost for checking a specific. ठीक है, got it. Can you scroll at the top again? Um, top, yeah. I'm here to assist with all your flight related queries, including policies, refunds, cancellations, seat preferences, and flight schedules. Right, got it. Can you scroll down? Um, So there are two questions. I know one is not handled. I'm just thinking the first question. When you say about seat preferences, what do you mean exactly?
if for free, I mean for free seat preferences, how would it be allotted? Or if you have paid seat, what are the chances of getting something like that? Actually,
Can you write this? Me and my brother are traveling. We want seats which has extra legroom space. Extra legroom space. Me and brother are traveling. We would require extra legroom space. Can you suggest some seats regarding it, or does the airline have extra legroom space seats? Something of that sort. Yeah, yeah. Offers exit row which provide additional. These seats are available for eligible adults only and not for infants or passengers with reduced to ensure it is recommended to select and pay for. How much amount do I need to pay to get extra legroom space? Theories where route airline doesn't policy. Okay. The seats are chargeable and the price depends on the specific. I won't say it is entirely wrong, but okay, it is fair. That is what I would say. So one is regarding seat, one is regarding cancellations, right? We just did cancellations, and the third one is, or you tried only two features.
I think last one was, I think, extra features that the airline provides related to it, and how many times we can cancel.
Okay. I think got it. Got it. If you scroll at the top, I think other for this, right? They have made two changes. So if you see the chatbot also says what features it is sort of providing, right? So I believe they would have written it in the instructions itself, or maybe at the start of the greeting message, which is a subtle touch.
No, I think we
Greeting message.
just changed the objective and this.
Yeah. So you
Based
see
on
the
that, we
greeting message,
generated.
right?
Yeah,
greeting
generated on its own.
Yeah. You can use this, right? It's simple. You can use it, right? Just a second. Cancellations, refunds. Right. I believe you won't have anything on reschedules, right?
Reschedule. I think we can try.
Yeah. Do you want to ask a question as a user? What would you ask?
Yes.
We'll just extend by 5 minutes, guys. I'm extremely. We'll just close this. Next, you can make changes. Okay. I believe departure times, arrival times, flight delay. The flight has been delayed. Am I compensated hotel for the stay for the night by the airline? Can you just write by the airline as well? The flight has been delayed by the airline. Reason because you wrote their delays, reschedules, and route availability. Your quality. Okay, that should be there in the policy. I think it's DCGA's rule that you need to provide it. You may want to check for any other. Got it. Can you go to the document? Up.
We divided each part and filled.
Yeah, that's fine, I think. So way for others, right? Way I've seen what people have done is people use, of course, GPT, but of course GPT can't give all the information. That is why we are building this, right? GPT doesn't have those nuances. So even if you use some GPT or something of that sort, you would still need to write things down.
We used for the headings and pointers, and then we filled it on our own.
Yeah, that's what I felt when I just read this, right? Which is a good this thing. Got it. So great work, Arjun and team. Do you want to take a shot? Do you want to present it or?
Yeah, I mean, we did that. Okay, so let me share my screen.
Yeah,
I think it will be much easier. I think someone is also already sharing the screen, so I'm not allowed to share it.
Yeah. So yeah, Rohan. Thanks.
Yeah, it's stopped.
Yeah.
So okay, let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Chat. Right. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So first we decided there was a document where I think it was Manisha's team, or there was a document and there was certain first I think there was a structure of a CSV, because right, there was root, the time, and then there was this example URL. There, under that there was a JSON. So similarly, we could do that. But when I was just storing, I found like if I have the URL, so I can simply copy paste the URL in here, right?
Right.
So
You can.
we added a few pages, mostly from Indigo and then from United Data. So just we could test it. So the three features that we decided was first was to come up with a certain type of a baggage calculator.
Okay.
So based on my experiences, like there is always some confusion around people about their baggage charges. Like my baggage is this much, so are there any extra charges, or that could go on
Fair.
without any charges, right? So the
Fair.
second thing was to come up with something related to cancellation policies. Like it's very common.
Okay.
And then the third was to come up with the way for rebookings, right? So, for example, if I have a flight schedule like on 25th, but I couldn't make it and I need it rescheduled. So, are
Right.
there any options for me to reschedule it in a later time on a much cheaper cost, or the cost that I am comfortable with, for
Got
example,
it.
right? Something like that. So, these were the three problems that we picked. So, we tried to come up with a format of the document. It
Yeah.
was quite confusing, right? Either do we need a table or do we need a PDF? Like as you mentioned, right? Like an essay type situation, question answer. So I
Yeah.
thought, okay,
Depending. Yeah.
everybody was working on it. So I think Prem shared a notebook element, had some resources. So I
That.
added the pages in here.
Yeah. I think that's fine. You can go to the chat board straight away.
I can go to in here and I can write a simple question like,
Yeah, so let's the first feature that you talk about, right, was regarding how much you are allowed to carry,
yeah,
right?
baggage. So
So
I can ask like,
can you write what baggage allowance is there for cabin versus check-in for domestic and international flights? Mm, second, right. So if I am not wrong, right, you have given web pages, right? So there will be some
yeah,
information that won't be here actually, which will be
no,
very specific because it's something which is already publicly available, right?
yeah,
So that would be the nuance. So the extra thing that RAG is supposed to do, right, is provide extra information. So can you write, is there, um, if I'm a student, do I have a higher baggage allowance? Indigo has it. So I'm not sure if your web page, you shared that web page or not.
for students.
Yeah, it has
Uh, do I
25.
also need to mention the age of the student?
No, that's not required.
It says there are higher baggage allowance for students.
You just need to be a student. Yeah. Can you write that? So when you book the flight rate, you can go to Indigo website. Uh,
Mhm.
there is no specific mention. Okay. Just information, you can go to the Indigo website. You could see government, defense, senior citizens, etc., etc. You don't need to go now. Let's come back to the bot. Yeah.
Mm.
But I got the this thing. So I've got what you guys have done. At least you have used the web pages, etc. But if you think maybe I would love if you guys also pick one feature on your own and
Mhm.
put it right. So you can use Google Doc, that is fine. You can use CSV if you're able to do it in CSV, that is fine, right? So the type of source that you want to use depends on you essentially, right? So web pages
Yeah,
of course make sense, but the thing is some information won't be there, right, in web pages. That is your internal information. So that information, let's say next leaves leave policy or something, that won't be there. So you would need to provide that information, and for that you would need to use RAG essentially, right? But great, yeah. The answer is yes. The only issue is the way it will think questions, right? That is, the question thinking is based on its trained data. So you won't be covering all the questions. You would of course cover questions, how user thinks, right? Wo questions ke you can write the answers, but you won't be covering all the questions. And I can prove it actually. This, like, we proved it in our company, because you are using models weights, right? Models train data. That data doesn't have those kind of questions. So you would be covering questions which are limited in set. You won't be covering, if I calculate something called as a coverage ratio, right, regarding that topic, it won't be covering questions for that specific set. You can actually prove it. If you want to try it out, you can do this exercise. Go to a website, Indigo or something of that sort, and copy all the links regarding baggage, right? And you can ask Notebook LLM or any other model that generate questions for me. I would be able to give you questions which are not there, but should be there essentially, because it is using models trained data, right? Question generation mein. So you won't be covering all questions. Yes. Yes, and that's why you would get paid for the yes. That is the answer. So I'll stop. Right. So right. Yes, right answers. So both the cases is right. LLM sort of try to come up with his own answers, but it might be not correct. The way it actually happens is we do sort of a survey, or sort of like what kind of questions are being asked, right? And of course we use, of course, our brain as well. So we come up with our list. We see what kind of questions are being asked. So currently, if there was US-Iran war, right? Because of that, a lot of flights were delayed. So people were asking a lot of questions. My friend were asking a lot of questions, right? Will the flight would change its route from? So the flight was basically not going to Dubai. It was going to point A to point B to, then it was coming back to India. A friend was living in Dubai. So we wanted to understand that how many stops it is going to take, how much extra stops the flight. It was one stop flight, but it went to three stop flight. So these things, right? What kind of users are answering or user are asking questions? That repository will be one. You will combine that plus your own thinking, and then you will have all the complete question set. Right. So the idea is to cover 90-95% of the questions. The 5% thing which are not covered, right? For that, you will have customer service essentially through call, etc. So I'll pause this session. We have gone over time. I'll launch the poll, and just wait. I hope this was an interesting session for you.
Recording stopped.
You guys learned a lot. And let me answer some questions which was asked, right? So there was one question which Rohan asked. Uh, I'll answer that maybe in the next session, when we start in the next session, right? So you guys can drop off. I'll just jot down the questions, and in the next session we'll answer the questions. Great. So cool. That's it for now. Let's catch up back at 2.